seconds, standby. 10 seconds. 5 seconds.
Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte makes a surprise move to withdraw her bid for re-election. This raises more speculation on her possible substitution for a national post. Government officials are split on whether to allow LGUs to finally lift the mandatory use of face shields in their localities. But another proposal is brewing, this time for the use of goggles as a replacement for face shields. The Senate Finance Committee is pouring more funding for COVID-19 response under the proposed 2022 national budget. This comes at the expense of the budget for the NTFL-CAC, which saw a 24 billion peso cut in allocation. And the Philippine economy grows faster than expected in the third quarter at 7.1% as most sectors post improved performances. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Jess De Los Santos. Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte drops her re-election bid for a reason that has yet to be disclosed. Let's talk more about that with one of Mayor Sara's close friends, Attorney Bruce Rivera, now joining us live via Zoom. Good evening, Attorney Bruce.
Good evening. Good evening to all your televiewers. Good evening to everyone.
Okay, first off, what do you know so far? I mean, this has raised speculations. Is Sara going to run for a national position?
First of all, I'm not confirming anything. I haven't really talked to her because after she told me clearly that she's not going to run for the presidency, I wanted to be surprised like everyone else. So there's really no confirmation whatsoever. But of course, from reliable sources near to me and close to her as well, there is actually some confirmation, little confirmation from the other people near within her team or within her group, saying that indeed this is something that is a very substantial.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, on one hand, you have Congressman Joey Salceda saying that running for vice president is no longer an option this time around. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think Mayor Inday Sara has always been very clear about saying that she is not running for the presidency, meaning that it's not a presidency. So I think she's a little bit, open to the vice presidency if I'm not mistaken. And there was a survey conducted wherein clearly, it actually validated the point that she as a vice presidential candidate is actually doable and winnable.
So does that mean that a possible bid for the presidency is no longer on the table?
I've always heard her say that she is not running for Pangulo. That's the exact statement she made in her text. So clearly, I think that's out of the question. However, the vice presidency has not been very clear about that. And in fact, there have always been, that this speculation that indeed she has been in talks with the team of Bongbong Marcos for a possible tandem, or even that of Senator Bongo, with her being the vice president, being the president. So these are things that have been considered before.
Okay, these, like what you mentioned, these are things that have been considered before, but now, what's really the priority here? Does it look like she's leaning towards an alliance with a certain political party or personality? Is this going to be with BBM? Or is this going to be with Senator Bongo, who earlier also hinted at the possibility of withdrawing his bid for vice president?
Well, everything is up in the air at this point. I think I feel that, of course, as the lead of the Hugpong ng Pagbabago, that cannot be a national party. And with PDP out of the way, there are quite possible number of options. She may run under GMA's Lakas CMD. She may run under under BBM's party, or she may just be an independent running for vice president in a team up or a tandem with Bongbong Marcos. So these are things that we consider unless it has been finalized. Everything really is speculative.
Okay, like what you mentioned, everything is just speculative at this point, but here's one thing that's sure. We're just days away from the substitution deadline. When are we going to receive word of her final plans?
Well, November 15 is just a few days away. So I think these are really pregnant with implications the coming days. And I think it's really for all of us to find out, because I think this has been done. This fruition whatsoever of some plan did not just happen like a metamorphosis. This happened like quite very fast. So maybe expect a few days, or maybe tomorrow there will be movement. I hope. Yeah.
Okay, we're all going to wait for that one, but how do you think Sara's move will affect the political posturing and the pre-election setup in general?
Well, I think that there is a commission survey which is confidential. It's not confidential anymore, which really showed that with a BBM Sara team up, they will really get a substantial number of votes. So the team, the two of them, is the team to beat if they decide to run together. So for some, this is quite daunting or worrisome, but for us supporters of Inday Sara, it is a happy news for all of us.
Okay. The moment that you hear any updates on that front, we do hope to hear from you as soon as possible. Again, thank you very much for your time this evening. One of Mayor Sara Duterte's close friends, Attorney Bruce Rivera.
Thank you.
Now, Vice Presidential candidate Senator Bongbong has hinted on possible changes regarding his candidacy. In an event today, Go hinted on possible adjustments in their lineup following today's developments, which saw Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte withdrawing her candidacy for mayor. Go is currently running with Senator Bato de la Rosa under PDP Laban. He became emotional in saying that there could be changes in the coming days which may affect his VP bid.
Etong kandidatura ko bilang Vice Presidente ay maaaring magbago. Gustuhin ko mang magsilbi sa inyo bilang inyong Vice Presidente dahil sa kagustuhan ng ating mahal na Pangulo. Kailangan ko pong umiwas. Malalaman niyo lang po yan sa darating na araw.
Now, some residents in Manila are now going about their day without face shields after the directive by Manila Mayor Isko Moreno. Other top officials, meanwhile, are still split on whether LGUs can issue such an order. Romel Lopez with a story.
Fewer people were seen wearing face shields in Divisoria today. The same goes for the people walking along the LRT station in Arroceros. This is after Manila Mayor Isko Moreno ordered to scrap the mandatory use of face shields except in hospitals. While some face shield vendors worry about its impact on their livelihood, they admit that wearing one can be a hassle at times.
Mababawasan yung aming kita kasi minsan dito lang din kami kumukuha ng ano.
Ikaw ba mismo sa tingin mo, dapat tayo naka-face shield?
Ano naman talaga sa sarili natin, kaso lang minsan sa gabal.
Malacanang insists it's best to wait for the IATF decision over the matter.
Kapag nagkanya-kanya tayo, mawawala po yung ating tinatawag na kumbaga yung ultimate executive power na ina-exercise po ng presidente. Kung ayaw nyo talagang sumunod, siguro pagpapakita lang ng respeto sa proseso.
However, Interior Secretary Eduardo Año notes that mayors have the power to enact ordinance based on the local government code.
But for those LGUs na nasa low risk, I will not hold it against them.
Health Secretary Francisco Duque suggested that the use of face shields could be made voluntary only in the areas under the alert level 2.
Siguro voluntary by and large, pag-aasa alert level 2. Pagka nagtaasan na naman ang kaso, okay? So pwede natin gawin mandatory sa alert level 3 and 4, no? So may mga ganon flexibility dapat.
Amid the debate, the health department says experts are not discussing the use of goggles instead of face shields. But former NTF advisor Dr. Tony Lichon thinks goggles are even more useless as protection against COVID-19.
Siguro aksaya na rin po yun. Kasi kung yung face shield ayaw natin, bakit pa tayo magagagas? Oo, parang sinisira na natin yung scientific explanation for this virus na andaan talaga niyan mainly through the nose and the mouth.
The technical working group is expected to release its decision on the use of face shields this Thursday. For News 5, Romel Lopez. We are One News.
The economy grew 7.1% in the third quarter, fueling hopes of a return to pre-pandemic levels by next year. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez breaks down the numbers for us.
The Philippine economy grew much faster than expected in the third quarter this year. Gross domestic product came in at 7.1%, much higher than what most economists predicted. Household and government spending both rebounded strongly, and most sectors improved. NEDA Secretary Carl Chua says we are now on track to hit or even exceed the government's target of between 4 to 5%.
Our progress in the third quarter shows that the recovery is accelerating. This entails everyone's cooperation. It entails managing the risk better.
But the quarter 3 reading marks a slowdown from the second quarter, when the economy expanded 12%. That's because Metro Manila and nearby provinces were placed under ECQ again in August due to the surge in COVID cases. Bad weather in September also played a part, with typhoons damaging crops. Chua says it's now about learning to live with the virus.
We cannot use the excuse anymore of the COVID-19. We have lived with it for 20 months. We know what we can do and what we should not do.
Chua also says the IATF is targeting to move NCR down to alert level 1 by January next year, in the process gradually reopening classes.
In the coming weeks, the vaccination program will include children aged 12 to 17. When the approvals are made, we will soon include children aged 5 to 11. This opens the door to the resumption of face-to-face schooling beginning in January 2022.
With this, optimism is high that the economy could return to pre-pandemic growth levels before the end of Duterte's term. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
The Senate's version of the 2022 budget is expected to include more health-related augmentations. Finance Committee Chairman Senator Sonny Angara said they gave the Health Department an additional 91 billion pesos. This is meant to cover health programs, including the Special Risk Allowance or SRA of health workers. Around 24 billion pesos has also been realigned to government's COVID-19 response. This was the budget originally allocated for the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict or NTF-LCAC. But the panel decided to slash the agency's funding to just 4 billion pesos after failure to report spendings this year. For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe. Philippines, I'm Jess De Los Santos. We are One News.